So I've shown you some features that improve. Thank you. So I've shown you features that improve the readability and easiness of interacting with the objects in the world. But the other part of our focus was to bridge the disconnection between the player and the object you are interacting with. In a fully physicalized world that we want to provide you, a tactile experience is very important to sell the experience. So we've introduced a new system that allows us to play animations on the player of actually reaching out and physically touch the objects in the world. Yeah. So our main goal was to give you a better immersion, but at the same time, minimizing the friction and the control we take away from you. So this really was an exercise between code, design, and animation to give you the best experience possible. Let's see some of this in action. And you know, pressing buttons has never been so satisfying and fun. And you know, I just kind of like go. And OK, so let's continue with this theme of tactile experiences. The next thing I want to talk to you about are usable interactables. So usables are objects that have existed in our game for a very long time. And you know, designers have had a variety of tools to build these really interesting and complex sequences for the AI. But up until now, what we could do for the player was very limited. So this past year, we've been building up our tools that provided for designers that designers could build these really interactive experiences, but for the player. And the advantage of using the usable system is that anything that the player will be able to do, the AI will also be able to do. So let's have a look at a simple demo that one of our designers put together to see what we can now achieve. So in this scenario, the player has to go forward but can't go forward because of the toxic water. So he has to go over to the valve to turn off the water. So before, we could maybe play a simple animation when you interacted, but now designers can give full manual control to you. So you, by pressing specific inputs, you will be driving the system. But this is not enough. We needed to be able to give designers a way to translate what the player is currently doing and affect other objects in the world in specific ways. So this is what is happening here. As the player is turning the valve, is controlling the flow of the water that's coming from the pipes. And what should happen when the player is no longer in control? Do we want to keep the state, revert back to the initial one, or maybe trigger something else altogether? Well, it's up to designers to define the type of experience they want to bring to you. So let's finally turn off that valve, rush over before that broken valve starts turning off, and then see another small example. Oh, let's go. So yeah, you'll see another small example where you won't be able to open the door by a press of a button, but you have to manually interact with that pump and manually open it. So you'll have to time your inputs to slowly open the door. So this is just a small taste of the level of interactivity that we can now have with these objects. We had really nice results for Squadron, for the mess hall line, and I can't wait to see what the PU designers will create and bring up to your hands. Thank you. Okay, let's quickly talk about kiosks and terminals. And let's be honest, it's really hard to interact and get a good view of these ones. So we made a small little changes to make it easier for you. We've created a new focus mode that will walk the player to perfectly align with the kiosks. So we can better perfectly frame the screen on the viewport. At this point, the interactive screen will steal the input focus until you actively chooses to leave. So let's take a look at this in action. And look at that, when you trigger it, and like, whew. Yeah, so this is a very small quality of life improvement, but it will make it much easier for you to interact with these kiosks.